For almost a decade, I've been teaching people to win with Facebook ads. But there's something I haven't really talked about. And that's not because I want to hide it from you, it's because it's uncomfortable to talk about. I honestly think that what I share in this video is going to upset some of you, but I want to cover the harsh truths about Facebook ads that most advertisers don't want to hear, but you absolutely need to hear if you want to succeed. Now, as we go through this, you might be tempted to think, yeah, these points apply to someone else, they don't apply to me. And I would encourage you right now to try not to do that, because if you really want to get better, you need to honestly assess things and have an honest conversation with yourself and think, yeah, does that actually apply to me? Could I get better in that area? Am I guilty of making that mistake? I think if you go through this video with that attitude, you get a lot more out of it. Right, first big point that I want to make. I never want to hear any Facebook advertiser ever again complain to me that they tried making new ads, they didn't work, and they don't know what to do next. You know, like maybe I've been doing this too long and I've just heard that line too many times, but that one really kills me. That one I get really frustrated with. Because the answer in that situation is simple. Make more ads. So you tried once or twice, you created a few new ads, they didn't work. So what? It might take 10 new ads for you to find one that really works. It might take 100, it might take 500. And here's the thing, no one cares if it takes you one ad to find a winner that can completely transform your business, or 500 ads to find a winner that can completely transform your business. They just care about results. So the answer here is keep going, like keep pushing. If you know there are other businesses in your industry that are using Facebook and Instagram ads to get good results, that it's a viable customer acquisition channel for them, then it can be for you as well. They just are better at least at certain aspects of it than you are. And if you can just keep going, you can get better than them, you can assess, you can improve elements, you will beat them. It's very simple to do, not necessarily very easy to do, but that is the truth. That is the answer in a lot of cases. So I actually got an interesting visual for you on this. I was thinking about this the other day. So I've got young kids, and my youngest is about to turn 1. So he's in full, I want to learn how to walk mode. And he's like absolutely going for it, trying to walk all the time. And the persistence that he's showing is incredible. So he's not like trying to walk a little bit every now and then. He's like all day, training all the component parts. He'll like stand up and sit down and stand up, and then he'll stand and hold on to something with 2 hands. He'll stand and hold on to something with 1 hand. He'll try and move from one thing to the other whilst being supported. He'll grab people's hands and walk. He'll crawl over somewhere and stand up. He's just going all the time, training all the component parts. I was thinking, if he was the average adult and instead of learning to walk, he was learning how to run Facebook ads, he'd have given up long ago. Like, the vast majority of Facebook advertisers do not have that much persistence by a long way. He's been doing this for a few months already, and he's probably got a few months more before he's actually going to be able to walk. They would try it for a little bit, a few days, a few weeks. And when I say a few days, I mean a few days of actually making ads. Yeah, they might run ads for longer, but like how much time and effort did you actually put into making new stuff, into testing new strategies, into adding in new structures, not just messing around with targeting settings that probably don't make any difference in the first place. He is just keeping going. So like, be more like a baby. And here's the thing about walking and babies and walking, right? As long as they're sort of physically okay and they're not sort of impaired in some way, everyone learns how to walk. Like, you never met a 30-year-old that just, I tried, it just didn't work for me. I just gave up. I'd never learned to walk. It's like I said, unless there's some sort of physical issue, everyone learns how to walk. And if you were to take that same approach of like, I'm going to keep going with my Facebook ads until, that's the big word, until I work it out, I have the best ads in my industry, I can dominate my space, because all the rewards, and I mean all the rewards, go to the very best in any space. And digital technology consolidates in many ways so that so much of the market share ends up being owned by the very best in the space. Like, you can go from decent to like pretty good even to exceptional, and the difference might be 100x the results that you get, not a little bit there, right? And I started this video by saying I'm going to share things that I'm normally afraid to say in this video, right? And one of the things that I don't say often enough when I'm speaking to Facebook advertisers is like, if you're not willing to do this, if you're not willing to go through all those iterations, if you're not willing to work really hard on ads, think it's gonna crush, launch them and they just completely flop, feel that frustration, but then go again anyway, then like, maybe you should just give up. Maybe you just shouldn't do this. Maybe you shouldn't be involved in Facebook advertising or marketing, or maybe even entrepreneurship in general. Maybe you should just go and get a job. It sounds really harsh, but maybe it's true. Like, I'm willing to walk through the fire to win. I always was. When I first started my marketing agency, I was 23. I was working out of my bedroom in a small, moldy flat in London. And like, even back then, I was coming for this industry. I knew exactly what I was going to do. I was working every hour I was awake, and I was going to do whatever it took to get there. And I speak to a lot of advertisers that are very clearly not that type of person. They're not in that mindset. Now, I know there are lots of people that watch my stuff who are absolutely like that, and they are willing to do it. And maybe, hopefully this video gets through to some of them, and maybe they just had misconceptions around what it took to win in this space, and this can help reframe their mindset and be tremendously valuable and be like, right, I thought I was working hard on this. I thought I was trying to do what it took to win in this space. I didn't get it. I now do. And that's what I'm making it for. And those people, like, the world's yours if you can keep going and make it work. Because if you can keep going and you can produce the best ads in your industry, all the rewards go to the very top. The scalability means that you can build a phenomenal business. I've seen that happen many times. I've seen it happen many more times. People never get there because they never go through those iterations. They never keep going. They never try and work it out. But the ones that do, the potential rewards are massive. So maybe it's having an honest conversation with yourself and going, am I actually willing to walk through the fire of this and to deal with the frustration and keep going anyway? Right, hopefully that's kind of set the tone for this video, a bit different to my usual ones. I appreciate it. Second big point I want to make. Your product isn't good enough. I have spoken to maybe more Facebook and Instagram advertisers than anyone ever. Like, I was talking to someone the other day thinking, is that true? Yeah, that might be true. I have the largest audience that's meta ad specific by far. I do Q&A calls all the time. So I have an enormous amount of experience talking with Facebook and Instagram advertisers. I don't think anyone has ever told me, maybe they've said it after I've asked them, but they've never said, my campaigns aren't working because my product isn't good enough. Now, I might have kind of looked into it and gone, not sure here, and they might have admitted it, but they never come out and said that. They always think it's everyone, I'm sure you watching this think it's something else. You never would think it's my products, my services, they're fantastic, couldn't possibly be them. I think one of the misconceptions people have when I say that is they think, but my product's not bad. My service isn't bad. That's not what I said. I said your product or service isn't good enough. Because if your stuff's okay, but there is a better alternative, your audience will buy the better alternative. Like, people aren't stupid. They're going to do their research. They're going to look into it. Not everyone, but enough people to have a big impact on results. And they're going to go with the better alternative. Or if you are similar quality, but one's cheaper, they're going to go with that instead. What I mean by good enough is it has to be better than your competitors. Your product or service needs to be better. If you want long-term sustained success with Facebook ads, any marketing channel, what you actually give people at the end of the day needs to be better. So many of the really fast growth stories of businesses across all different niches come from a product or service that is so good that people buy it and they refer, they buy it again, and they just take off. And they actually end up often in a scenario where they don't need to do that much marketing eventually. They might need it a lot at the beginning to sort of reach that escape velocity, but once they get there, they then don't need to do that much because their stuff is so good. That's hard to do. Like, to genuinely create a product or service that is better than your competitors, who are also trying to create a great product or service, is really difficult to do. But why would you expect this to be easy? The amount of people that start a business, make millions, scale it, becomes a massive thing is absolutely minuscule. Like, why would you not expect that to be hard? If I told you, how hard is it to be the fastest marathon runner in a million people, to be 1 in a million marathon runner, you'd be like, phew, that is going to be really hard. I'm going to have to train. I'm going to have to get my diet dialed in. I'm going to have to do that for years and years. Like, yeah, that's what you're trying to be. You are probably trying to be the 1 in a million, the 1 in 100,000 when it comes to your results from your business, from your marketing, from your advertising. So like, it's going to be really difficult, and that's what it takes. This is especially important, your product needing to be better, if you're operating in an industry where your competitors have brand recognition and brand value and your business and you don't. You have that to overcome. Because if they look even somewhat comparable, most people are going to go with the big business. Why? Because you're less likely to get something rubbish. Like, if you buy something from a really big company, a well-known brand within the industry, what are the chances it turns up and it's just nonsense? Like Rory Sutherland gives a perfect example talking about TVs. If you buy a TV from Samsung, what's the chance that the remote won't work and it never, like, it's gonna be fine. There might be some better options, but it's going to be fine. You have a big hurdle to overcome, and that's more important in industries where the purchase is more important.
Come on a sec, take a look at this. So this is in my mentorship program, right? In the results and wins channel, and Tara has said this. In 2 weeks of joining, my ROAS went from 0.7 to 8.03, and I've only implemented maybe 30% of the feedback that's given me so far, that's just incredible. That's awesome. So Zoe up here, she joined the mentorship program with 35,000 raffle tickets. Was thinking she wasn't going to sell them, and she ended up selling out completely with 2 days to spare. And we've got loads of others in here. We've got tons of people just sharing information around how they've done well, great results they've got. If you're interested, you can click on the button beneath this video. That'll go through to a page on our website. You could book in a free, no obligation call with one of my team members to find out more information. Hopefully we get to work together. Hopefully you join and you'll be sharing fantastic results like Tara and Zoe have done just here.
Right, so I've kind of given you a little bit of a kicking so far, and to some extent that is going to continue, but let's change tone a little bit and get a little bit more tactical and provide some more specific advice, right? So the next point I want to talk about is, if you're trying to get better results from your Facebook and Instagram ads, and I assume you are, otherwise you probably wouldn't be watching this video in the first place, and you follow my content, maybe other people in the space, and there's so much information, you're thinking, I could be doing one of 50 different things to improve ad results. Do I take this path or this path? They seem to contradict, but this apparently gives good results, this apparently gives good results. What on earth do? I feel overwhelmed. Well, firstly, you join my mentorship program, you jump on a call with us, we tell you exactly what to do, job done. But aside from that, here's what I'd recommend you do. Make a list of all the things that you could do and put them in order of the ones you least want to do at the top, all the way down to the ones you most want to do. And funnily enough, the order of that list will almost certainly correlate to the biggest needle movers. So things you want to do the least, that feel like loads of effort, that are really difficult to do, that you don't really know how to do, you're gonna have to work it out, maybe you're gonna have to hire some people to help you with it. Those are almost certainly the things that are going to have the biggest impact and move the needle the most. And right at the bottom of the list, you might have, tweak a few targeting options, which, like I said, almost certainly don't matter with the new setup with Facebook ads and when it comes to targeting. And at the top of the list, you're going to have produce the best ad creative Dollar Shave Club style video in my industry. Really hard to do, probably going to push you way out your comfort zone. You're going to have to get other people involved. It's going to cost, it's going to take a lot of time and effort. It's going to be a lot of frustration, we at least want to do, but that moves the needle the most. Why does it move the needle the most? Why does that list, in terms of least want to do at the top, most happy to do at the bottom, correlate to the biggest needle movers? Because your competitors can't bring themselves to do those things at the top that they least want to do either. Like, they're lazy, they're weak, they don't want to take those hard steps. If you can force yourself to do it, you have a massive competitive advantage. That's actually one of the best things about things being hard, something being hard that you're competing in. Is like, great, if it's hard for you, it's hard for everyone else. That makes it much more likely that they quit, that they give up, makes it much easier for you to win by just sticking around. Now, I also don't want you to misunderstand me and think that, oh, okay, none of the setting changes or tweaks within ad campaigns can make a difference. That's not true. They are important. Like the knowledge and being able to do that structure, different settings, like they all do matter. But here's what most people will do. They will watch 3 minutes of one of my videos, hear about a setting that I'm talking about, and go ahead and implement it. They won't watch the whole video where I'll try and give all the caveats and do it for this business and not in this business, do it in this circumstance, not in this business. They won't bother to do that. So they might apply something when it doesn't apply to them. I get on calls with people all the time and they say, oh, I heard you talk about such and such, so I applied it. And I go, you didn't watch the whole video because that does not apply to your business. It applies to some businesses, but not yours. You should not have done that. You didn't pay attention for the whole thing. And they certainly won't do what they should do, which is watch all my videos for the last 6 months, get all the context around the new features and changes, fully understand which things they should use and which they shouldn't, and how they connect with each other, how they interact with each other, so that they have a full proper understanding. Why won't they do that? Well, that's going to take you probably 2 or 3 solid days maybe to go through and fully understand, maybe longer if you're fitting it in and around other work stuff. And like I said, people are lazy, they're not going to do it. If you can be the one to do that, then yes, you might still be just making that setting tweak, but you've been through the work that other people can't be bothered to do. You've actually learned, not just taken a little soundbite and watched 3 minutes of a video. You've watched the whole thing, you've paid attention, you haven't been on your phone the whole time whilst you're listening to the video, you've actually watched it. I'm sure there's people right now that have heard that line who are on their phone watching this on their computer, and that's just sort of made them grab their attention. That would be near that top of that list of like, oh, do I really want to go through that much learning? That's tough. We can see it in our mentorship program. As part of our mentorship program, we have exclusive educational material, like our best stuff. And we've had over 1,000 people join the mentorship program. You know how many people go through all of it? All the educational material? Tiny percentage. Absolutely tiny percentage. Like way less than you'd think. Why? Because it's at that top of that list. It's, that feels like effort. Least, that's right at the top of a least want to do. If they actually just made themselves do it, they'd fully understand it, it'd be really beneficial for their business. Right, so my next point is another one that's right at the top of the least want to do list, something that is difficult, something that takes time, something that's almost certainly going to push people outside their comfort zone. I actually think the comfort zone one applies to this point more than others. And that's to hire influencers and creators to produce your Facebook and Instagram video ads for you. There are so many reasons to do this. Firstly, influencers and creators are really good at producing video content. That's how they became influencers and creators in the first place. Out of hundreds of thousands, millions, maybe tens of millions that are trying to become a creator in their niche, they got to the very top. Right? So they're obviously really good at it. And you can benefit from that because they're producing your video ads for you. If you've got a skills gap there in particular, not brilliant at it yourself, then, excellent. Really good deal there. Secondly, if they have influence over your target market, which if you've got the right person, they will do, they stop the scroll, their recommendation carries a lot more weight. Like your ROAS we've seen ROAS just go from like 2x to 6x just overnight because the right influencer was involved in the video ads recommending the products, right? So many reasons to do it. Now, I've recommended that strategy to literally millions of people. Like I've talked about it in many videos, one of my favorite tactics. I think it is massively underutilized and cumulatively, millions of views on the videos where I've recommended that. Now, when I get on my Q&As and I ask people and they're talking about creative and what to do and how to improve it and often feeling a bit lost, and I'll say, well, how many creators are you working with on your video ads? The most common answer by far is, oh, none, haven't done that yet. Like, okay. Why? Why haven't you done that? Have you heard my stuff where I'm recommending it? Yeah, but I didn't know who to contact. It's like, okay, doesn't matter, just do it. It doesn't matter if you don't know, just do it. And if it's wrong, then you'll learn from that first effort being wrong and then just do it again and keep going until you find those people. Occasionally, someone will say, yeah, well, I tried contacting 3 or 4 people, but no one got back to me. And it's like, great, what did you do? You found some email address, sent some cold emails, probably ended up in spam. You sent some cold DMs. Like they're just gonna get ignored. If you DM me via Instagram, like I'm not going to see it. Even if you comment on one of my ads or pieces of content saying I've DM'd you, like, come on, I get hundreds. Like, this is not how you get in touch. I have a specific page on my website where you can inquire for sponsorship and things like that. A lot of creators do. So if you just take a bit of time, you can find stuff like that and get in touch. But had those people just bothered to go through the content that I've created on the Creator Marketplace, a fantastic free resource that Meta have provided for us that makes it really easy to find creators, contact them there directly. They know exactly what you're contacting them through that, much more likely to get back to you. You can even create campaigns in there and say to people, this is exactly what I'm looking for from an asset standpoint. This is what I'm willing to pay. This is what I want it to be like. Are you in? Like, it couldn't be easier. So had they just gone through that content and that 15-minute video and seen it, they could use that. And that would make it a lot easier, but people don't do that. Even if you don't do that and you're just reaching out, just keep reaching out. Like, if it was that important to you, you would find a way to get through to them. If it was equivalent of my youngest trying to learn to walk, and he was like, right, okay, tried standing up this way a few times, that didn't work. Right, I'll try another way, I'm gonna keep going. Like, okay, well, just keep going, try and find it. Every now and then, very occasionally, I will ask that question and someone will say, oh, we have like a dozen creators that we work with regularly and they produce nearly all our ad creative. And without fail, that's maybe happened 5 or 6 times. Every single one of those businesses Their Facebook ads are flying. They're scaling like crazy. And actually, it's really interesting to have those conversations because they've completely nailed creative in that scenario. So their questions then become about a lot of other things. And it's like quite a different conversation. Whereas most businesses, I would say at this point, we're talking about creative and improving those. Those businesses are taking off. And it's like, of course it is. They've got the best people within their space promoting their stuff. Like, why would that not work? Of course it's going to work. Way better than your generic ads. Like, way better. Now, I've talked about this before, and in the past, I've gotten comments, and I see these pop up regularly, people being like, oh yeah, but that's going to cost. It's like, yeah, of course it's going to cost. This is advertising, this is marketing, it costs money. Oh, I don't have money. Okay, how did anyone start anything without money ever? Like, you start without any, and then you get some by working hard and working it out, and then you reinvest. Like, that whole I don't have the money to hire an influencer is not a valid reason. Find it, make it, and then spend it. When I started my agency at 23 in a mouldy one-bedroom apartment in London, I didn't have any money either. I didn't have any money for anything. You're just paying the bills and working all hours, and you just sort of scrape through to get, in my case, a couple of clients. And you're like, right, okay, maybe I could hire a video editor now at the cheapest rate possible, £200 a month, to just cut this up for me and save me a little bit more time to get a few more. And then that's how you do it. That's how you do it, and you keep going. So there will be some people that watch this video that walk away with this. And if this is your one takeaway, I'd love this to be your takeaway. I am going to keep trying to work with influencers until I find ones that can completely transform my business. No easier way for the vast majority of companies. Okay, next point, get your tracking sorted. No ifs, buts, ands, or maybes. Like, get it sorted. I don't care what excuse you've got. You have to sort that out. You have to keep going until it is right. I've had so many conversations with people where they'll say, oh, well, we can't track conversions accurately because we use a third-party checkout software or something like that. Well, change it. Use something else where you can integrate the pixel. Like, obviously, it's so important to get accurate data. You want the pixel installed, you want Conversions API installed, you need them providing accurate information back into your ad account. Without that, you cannot benefit from Meta's really powerful machine learning processes to optimize your campaigns. Nothing will kill your results faster. It's a massive competitive disadvantage to not having it sorted, but I speak to so many advertisers that don't have it. Like, it's kind of there, but they don't have it right. They have the pixel, but not Conversions API. Event match quality is not as good as it should be. I've got more videos on more details on this. By the way, you don't necessarily need to know how to do all this technical stuff yourself. That might not make sense. Like, for me, it definitely doesn't. I know the basic setup on a pixel. I know the basic setup on Conversions API. Anything more complicated than that, I've not got a clue. I'm not very technical. I need to hire people to do that for me. Well, we have people internally that can do it for us, but you can absolutely use it. If you've got the budget, use third-party tools like Hyros. Fantastic way to resolve this issues. But get it done. Nothing will kill your results more than not having accurate data. Like, it's like trying to run a marathon with your legs tied together. It's going to take you 3 times as long to do it. Get it sorted. Hyros is the best tracking and attribution software for Meta ads. It's the software all the big players in this industry use, including myself. I use it to track results for my own ads, as well as all my organic results as well. So if someone books a call for our done-for-you services, for example, I can see exactly where that person came from with a lot of accuracy. That allows me to make better decisions for my marketing and my business. Hyros has been able to track that from our ad spend in this campaign, we've generated £96,000, but £58,000 of that was not reported by Meta. So if I was just looking at my data within my Meta ad account, I might come to the conclusion that this campaign is doing okay, but in reality, this campaign is doing a lot better. Now, this is a relatively extreme example because of the nature of our business. So most of our product services have recurring billing elements. Meta might be able to see what we make initially from our ad spend on that initial transaction, but not those subsequent payments. And that's why it shows the importance here of being able to accurately see what did we actually get from our ad spend in order to be able to make better decisions and optimize correctly. So if you want to improve the performance of your ad campaigns without having to touch your ads, go ahead and sign up to Hyros. There is a link in the video description. A little bit of change of tone again on this one. I'm trying not to do too much kicking in this video. Right, next point is to stop expecting the unrealistic. One of the most common complaints I get from advertisers is, my CPMs are just too high. As soon as I hear that, I'm like, okay. And they'll give that as a reason to why their campaigns aren't performing as well as they'd like them to. And I'd be like, what are your CPMs? They'd be like, well, I'm paying, $50 CPMs. So $50 per 1,000 impressions. Okay, where are you advertising? New York. Right. Why would you expect it to be less? why would you think that your CPM should be so much less than that when you're advertising in a really expensive market? Or what are you advertising? Some sort of B2B service. My CPMs are $90. Yeah, of course. You're trying to reach really valuable audiences. So are other advertisers. The price is set in an auction. That just is what it is. That's life. I think you just need to move on anyway. And CPMs are part of the uncontrollables of Facebook and Instagram advertising. There are things you can do to reduce your CPMs, but in most cases they're going to do more harm than good, because the most reliable way to reduce your CPM is to target people that aren't as valuable. Other advertisers don't want to reach them. Like imagine, what CPMs would you expect to pay for CEOs of Fortune 500 companies? Like if you could target that specifically, you're probably paying like $10,000 CPMs, because there's, 500 of them, and they control multi-million, in many cases billion-dollar budgets, and of course you should expect to pay an absolute fortune to reach them. So yeah, I think that's CPMs. That also spills over into your CAC, into your cost to acquire a customer. I've seen lots of businesses where they're like, I'm paying $22 to get a new customer. Okay, that sounds great. Yeah, but I only make $35 a customer. Right, that's not a cost to acquire a customer issue. That's not a CAC issue. The issue there is your lifetime customer value. You need to make way more than $35 to acquire a customer. If you can get that $35 to $200, well then you've got a 8x return on ad spend, right? Or slightly more than that. There's a lot of advertisers that have completely unrealistic results. I've spoken to people that are selling low ticket items. They're like, I need to get new customers for $7 each. You want a customer, someone to give you money, and you want it to only cost you $7? That's crazy. Why would you expect to be able to compete with a business that's selling their average customer value is $2,000? Because they're happy to pay $70, $100 to acquire a new customer. More in many cases. Why would you expect to be able to compete with them? That's silly. Don't expect to get unrealistic. A lot of businesses actually have an okay cost to acquire a customer. Always things that we do to improve those. We've talked about some of that in this video, but don't neglect the rest. Sometimes a 4x return on ad spend is great. I was about to say a 10 because I've had business owners complain about a 10x return on ad spend, which I find hilarious. It's like, dude, your customer acquisition is great. It's the rest of your business that's terrible. If you can't be profitable with a 10x return on ad spend, you have a terrible business. Unless you're in a super regulated industry where profit margins are fixed at 9% or whatever, yeah. But those are very fringe cases. The next point, which is number 7, I believe, is that running ads on Meta or any ad platform, you aren't buying results. You are buying a ticket to play. That's a very different mindset, because if you think you're buying results and you don't get results, you blame the ad platform. But if you think you're buying a ticket to play and you don't get results, you realize that you weren't good enough at the game. You didn't compete well enough in the tournament in order to place, in order to win. So if you can shift that mindset and think, I'm buying the opportunity to put my ads in front of people. It is completely up to me and my advertising whether or not I get results, not the duty of the platform. The platform is going to try and get the best results possible because it's within their interest. You get better results, you give them more money, you scale, they win. So they absolutely want to do that. But just be very clear of what's going on here. And it's actually good that way, because if you could just go on to any ad platform and guarantee results by giving them money, so would all your competitors. And then where would your competitive advantage come from? Your competitors would do that, you would do that, the cost would go through the roof. Basically, no one would make any profit based on marketing. You could still have competitive advantage and make significant profits based on operational efficiencies and increased customer lifetime value. But on the front end, you couldn't. Now you can on the front end because you can have significantly better advertising and marketing than your competition. So think of the hard as good. Other people will give up, they're weak, you're not, you keep going, you win, you keep going until they leave and you beat them. Okay, so moving on to the next point. Facebook and Instagram ads are going to continue to get more expensive. You have to learn to deal with it and move on anyway. It's demand and supply. It's been happening since I first started advertising on the platform 11, 12 years ago. It's going to continue to happen. And that applies across the board. So the answer isn't to go, well, there's no point, because that's going to apply to all other, it's not like you jump to another ad platform. It's going to happen there as well. Like the YouTube space, for example, has become much more competitive since I've been doing it. Since I've been creating educational YouTube content on Facebook and Instagram ads, the quality of the videos that would get ranked number 1 8 years ago were way worse than what's required today. There have been many more people join this space. I've had to see off a lot of rivals. I've had to be the one to keep going. I've had to have that, I'm going to keep doing this until. That's why I have the largest meta ads only YouTube channel by far, like at least 3x the next largest. If you look at subscriber count, I personally love the competition, makes me get better. I see other people getting views, mine drop off. I'm like, nah, not having this. How do I improve things? Do we need to do more content? How can we improve it? How can we level it? What can we do to make this better? Like I see it as a game, as a tournament, as competition. You should see the meta ads the same. Just like what I previously talked about. The harder it gets for other people, the more likely it is that they will quit, the more likely it is that they will do something else because they think it's easier. You get to be the winner by being willing to keep going, to deal with the difficulty, to deal with the uncertainty, to deal with the pain of it, the frustration, the record the video and the bloody audio didn't record and you've got to do it all again and you're not feeling very well and you just keep going anyway and you commit to your schedule. I'm going to make new ads every week no matter what because I want to get better at creative and I want the best creative in my industry. I'll give you another quick story. So 18 months ago, I got appendicitis, had to have my appendix removed. I did not miss a weekly upload. Now, for anyone who's had appendicitis, appendix removed, it's not a small deal. Like it's quite significant. I was in a hospital for 5 nights because actually extra complications, but we were prepared firstly. So we had a little bank of videos. We had a few weeks we didn't need to record for. And then I remember I was like, right, I'm going to record. So I was like propped up on my stool. I think even I normally sit on a stool to record this, right? I think I've got a chair over there. I had like a chair with a back because I was like, couldn't hold myself up properly having had, abdominal surgery. And I was like, I'm not missing a week. I'm not missing a week. If you have the same attitude with your creative and it gets harder and it gets more expensive, oh, we can't afford to keep running ads if the cost to acquire a customer goes over $25 and you're like, I've been working on my lifetime customer value for 3 years. Good luck. I can pay $100 a customer. I'm going to absolutely crush you. That's the attitude I would encourage you to have. It served me very well. So quite a different tone to this video. Hopefully that hasn't been too bruising. Or maybe it has, and maybe that was the whole point of me making this video in the first place. You've got some good takeaways. I feel like a lot of advertisers needed to hear this. Let me know what you think in the comments below.